Hello everyone, and welcome to another game I played on Ptcgo. For this match, I'm finally getting around to trying out Yveltal, Darkrai, Garbodor, and let's see how that goes. So I get the option of choosing to go first, and I don't, mainly because I want to either Oblivion Wing or Junk Hunt on turn 1. I'm going to start off with regular Yveltal, and I'm going to bench a Trubbish and a Darkrai. Fairly decent start, and I get a supporter. My opponent's going to start off with a Cobalion and a Mewtwo, so not too indicative of what that is until I see an Oddish go down on the bench. So this is a Vilplume deck. He will try to use Allergy Panic to make all weaknesses times 4 and then just get really energy cheap knockouts. So he's going to Heavy Ball here for a Landorus, which is a good choice given what I have down on the field, and then Skyla for something else here, and we see Skyla for a Chorus. So he'll just end his turn. Here I'm going to attach a Dark Energy, attach a Floatstone onto Trubbish, and a Floatstone onto Darkrai, just trying to play my hand down, play a Hypnotoxic Laser. My opponent does not go to sleep, and I'm going to play this Juniper. And I get an Yveltal, I play it down. I'm not going to play that Dark Claw yet, in case my opponent has a Tool Scrapper. I want to conserve a turn next turn, so I can get Garbodor into play. So that Oblivion Wing did hit my opponent for 30, and the poison damage does 10 in between turns. So here my opponent wants to really get out Vilplume as soon as possible, but also wants to save up any Tool Scrappers for critical moments, just because I do play a Garbodor, and that will turn off Allergy Panic, I believe is the ability. So here my strategy is basically going to be to conserve, or to be really careful about who I attack with, just because I know his strategy will be to hit for weakness. So now we see a Skyla, or an Ultra Ball get played, discarding a Blend Energy and a Skyla, and now it comes a Thundurus EX, so that's definitely going to threaten my Yveltal, both EX and non, just because he can hit for weakness, and with a Muscle Band he can one-hit KO me. Then my opponent's going to Chorus here for 7, I believe, and just pass the turn. Now I'm going to evolve into Garbodor, put a Sableye down on the bench. Now I will play that Dark Claw on Yveltal so I can hit for 50. Then I can N here. I think I'm going to Ultra Ball, getting rid of one of those Dark Energies and the Ultra Ball, just so I have energy to attach with Oblivion Wing. And here I'm actually going to get another Yveltal, just so I can have a second one in the wings. And I'm going to Oblivion Wing for 50 and attach an energy onto Yveltal. So now going into my opponent's turn, he's fairly close to getting knocked out here, if I can get one of my EX attackers into the active spot. But now that Thundurus and Landorus are in play, he can just threaten a knockout if he has the Tool Scrapper and he can evolve. So he's going to attach a DCE onto Mewtwo. So I'm not too worried about Mewtwo. He can hit Garbodor for weakness, but he'll need a catcher to do anything, and most decks don't play catcher. So here I'm just going to just play down a Riverbank City Gym and hit him with Oblivion Wing for the knockout and take 2 prizes. So that was fairly easy. I'm just waiting for my opponent to send something out. He sends out a Mewtwo, so he cannot knock out Yveltal, but turns out he does play catchers. So he plays a catcher, gets ahead. So now Garbodor is in the active spot. He discards my Stadium and puts down a Fairy Garden. So he probably plays a Aromatisse in here somewhere. He's going to Chorus. He does attach a Rainbow Energy onto Thundurus and a Muscle Band onto Mewtwo, and with that he can hit me for the knockout. So now the tables are slowly turning, but there is a huge lag here for whatever reason. I'm going to send up Yveltal, the non-EX variant, just because I am wary about him being able to one-hit KO the EX ones. So I'm going to attach a DCE onto Yveltal. I will Super Rod, a Trubbish, and a Garbodor. And here I'm just going to Oblivion Wing for 50. There's nothing in my discard pile to attach, but it's a fairly good attack here. So every match I've played so far with this deck, I've actually won. I've sort of been resisting it just because it seems so overpowered, but I guess I'm just conforming. So now my opponent's going to attach a Blend Energy onto Landorus, and finally a Rare Candy Vilplume comes out. So now all weaknesses are ×4, and I now have to be very, very careful about how I go about things. My opponent's going to play an N, and I do not play catchers or escape ropes in this build. It's not normally how I play, but this is a little bit more aggressive build. So my opponent here played that N, giving me a not so great of a hand. So he's going to retreat Mewtwo, go into Thundurus, and hit me with a Raiden Knuckle, and it leaves me 10 short of the knockout. So if he had a Muscle Band, he could have gotten the knockout, but fortunately he did not. Here I should attach that Darkrai onto Yveltal, but for whatever reason I don't think I make that play, as I'm trying to do the math to see if I have enough energy in play to do the knockout, get the knockout here, and I actually do not. I'm just going to attach another Dark Energy to Yveltal, play Juniper, discarding that Dark Claw by mistake, and I do manage to get a Veerbank City Gym to knock out the Fairy Garden. I play a Hypnotoxic Laser, and now I can hit him with Oblivion Wing for 50, and he will take poison damage in between turns, bringing him to 80 damage total. So he can get the knockout here if he keeps Thundurus in the active, but if he does, I can just return the knockout and send his only real counter to my Yveltal EXs. But he's going to play an Ultra Ball here. The smart play would be to go for a second Thundurus, but we see a Reshiram, since I guess many of these Vilplume decks don't play multiple copies of anything other than Oddish and Vilplume. So that's a little unfortunate, since, well, my deck can actually dispatch Thundurus, it just has a little bit of trouble doing so. And my opponent's actually going to retreat into Landorus. He hits me with Hammerhead, and the 10 damage is enough for the knockout, and he'll be able to hit the bench first, well, take some bench damage, and he decides to deal it on Yveltal. I'm going to send up here Sableye in hopes that I can power up 2 Yveltals. I don't want to send one up if he's just going to switch into Thundurus somehow. And I do want to shut off his abilities. So I'm going to get Garbodor here, play a Hypnotoxic Laser, and then N, hoping I can get a Darkness Energy, so I will be able to Junk Hunt this turn. Unfortunately, I don't. I get Dark Patches, which are nice, but no Darkness Energy in the hand. So I will attach a Dark Energy onto one of my benched Yveltals, the one with no energy on it, and just pass the turn, since I can't really do anything else. So now my opponent can't one-hit KO me with any of his Pokemon on his side of the field, at least not easily, since Sableye has no weaknesses. So that's the good thing about that. So we see a Juniper and a Town Map. So my opponent's going to reveal a DCE, a Colress, a Shauna, and a Rainbow Energy in his prizes. And maybe he'll play another catcher here. That's sort of what I'm dreading, since Muscle Band will allow him to take out Darkrai EX. But it looks like he's going to attach a Float Stone instead, so that is actually a good thing for me, Since there's no muscle band, I don't have to worry about the one-hit KO from Darkrai. He retreats into Vilplume, and then it's going to play an escape rope. So this is sort of what I was worried about, since I do know he plays it. And I'm going to send up Darkrai here. So now that I saw that Floatstone go on Landorus, I know he cannot one-hit KO me. So he'll be able to get close, but not close enough. So here, he's going to Hammerhead, doing quite a bit of damage, but I can just retreat that Darkrai. And he deals 30 more to my benched Yveltal. So here I will play down a Sableye, just so I can draw 9 cards with Chorus. And I get a fairly decent hand. Can actually Ultra Ball away a few things here, just so I can double Dark Patch here. I think I'll take a Darkrai, just because. And with those 2 Dark Patches, I will attach to Yveltal, the one that hasn't taken any damage. And I will try to attack with it. I can't actually take the knockout, but now that I have 2 Yveltals in play, I will be able to just retreat into the next one, or if he manages to knock it out, just have some sort of backup plan. So here I also do have the dowsing machine in hand, which I can use to get a tool to attach to Garbodor. But I don't think I'm going to do that here. At least I'm not sure. I'm debating what the best play is here. Debating whether or not to touch a Darkness or a DCE onto Yveltal. Either way, I don't get the knockout. So I just decided to go for the Darkness and Evil Ball for 120. I didn't play that dowsing machine, mostly because I wanted that DCE and supporter for the next turn. So now my opponent is 30 short of the knockout, so he really does have to retreat, and he doesn't. So he hits the active Yveltal for 10, and he's going to hit the bench Darkrai for 30, bringing it 30 away from the knockout. And here I'm going to play a Shauna. I managed to get some more energy that I can play. It will attach to Sableye. And I'm going to Y Cyclone here. Just in case he can get the knockout, I will remove one of those energies from Yveltal, send it to Sableye, so I can junk hunt for Dark Patches if he does get the knockout. And here I take 2 more prizes, and my opponent sends up Mewtwo EX. So here, he could potentially get the knockout. If he has the right combination of cards, he's going to play a Max Revive. Looks like he probably wants Landorus back, and that's what he goes for. So that is now at the top of his deck, and he will draw it the next turn. So, unfortunately, my opponent didn't have a Hypnotoxic Laser or another DCE. And I'm going to here play a Hypnotoxic Laser and Evil Ball for 140 in the knockout and the win. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this match, and stay tuned for more.